Hello and welcome to Feel More Good. I'm your lovely host, Melanie Weinberger, and this is episode 9 of Feel More Good. Feel More Good delivers education and experiences to help you feel more good more often, because we believe life gets to feel good, and that happens by design, not by accident. So we go live every Monday, and today our guest is Denise Roussel. Y'all, Denise is a special, special lady. Hey, Carolyn, thank you for being here. What's up, Billy? Thank you for being here. Guys, our guest is Denise Roussel today. She is one of the most transformative people I've ever had the opportunity to be with in person. Denise is the essence of presence, and she's one of the most present people I've ever met. And I think just you being with her today can transform your life in terms of witnessing how someone has so much unconditional love for themselves and for everyone around them. So in a few minutes I'll bring her on, and as always I want to start by just shouting out to some really exemplary community members today. Specifically, I want to shout out Christine Michelle, who joined the community really early and started posting these lovely poems. And then she's back, and she's been posting these beautiful poems about her gratitude for her life. So Christine, thanks for adding such wonderful content into our community. And I also want to shout out Bada for doing the same thing. He dropped in a video of a woman who was shot in the leg and still showed up to court to fight a traffic ticket so that she could afford to get oxygen for her infant son. It was a wild video. So y'all check out the Feel More Good community group and watch the awesome content that people like Bada and Christina are throwing in. It's all feel good stuff and it's lovely. Hey Elizabeth, I'm glad you're here. So Denise Roussel, let me just tell you a little bit about her. In the past 4 years, Denise has published 10 books. And she likes to say she's never felt busy the whole time. Can you imagine? Can you imagine naturally just authoring 10 books and feeling like just regular old day and not feeling busy? Like, the thought of publishing one book makes me feel nervous. She's published 10 books. She's an artist, she's a speaker, she's a facilitator. Carolyn, yeah, she's super epic. And she's facilitated women's groups that I've been a part of and other beautiful experiences. And so today she's gonna share about her life, and she's gonna guide us all through an experience to experience how she presences unconditional love for herself. So I'm gonna bring Denise on. And you guys, I have to let you know this. So Denise and I practiced this morning, and for some reason, when we're on split screen, my recording gives terrible audio feedback. So if that happens, I'm gonna sort of lay back a little bit and just let Denise take over, and you'll just be hearing less from me, but I'm here. So hopefully sound quality is good, but if it's not right away, we'll just hand over to Denise. So I'm gonna bring her on now. So Denise will be joining any minute, and oh, there she is.
Hello, girlfriend.
Hey, thank you.
Well, thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, I'm terrible.
It happens sometimes. What can I say? Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna be a little. And I know that you're.
Okay.
So more good.
Okay. Well, cut in if you feel like you want to. But I want to introduce myself a little bit. 4 years ago, I had the experience of my middle son, Corey, passing away suddenly and unexpectedly. And it was a huge awakening experience for me. It was as if he was saying to me at the time, I finished now, and I'm going to the other side where I can be of more assistance. Corey and I have been working together for many lifetimes, and I'm here. And the last 4 years have been nothing short of miraculous. I know why I came into this skin. And I came here to embody the love that we are. so that we can create a new earth. And so the process has been nothing short of amazing. It's pretty traumatic to lose a child. And I can tell you today that I am super grateful for every single thing that's happened in my life, including the death of Corey. And that's been because I have been able to tap into my limitless nature, waking up to who we are, all as one, and being able to see a different perspective than what we're doing here in these human bodies. So it occurs to me that what we're doing is remembering who we are. Source energy, pure love, pure presence. And that is why it's so important to practice presence, because it's who we are. When we're in this moment, we tap into our limitless divine nature. It's taken a little while, just a minute, to get to this place in my life, but I live an amazing life. I love my life, and I love everything about my life and everybody that's in it. I want to preface also a little bit about Corey. He lived a very dramatic life. He lived in his 27 years more than most people would in 72. And he experienced a lot of things. Among them, he was involved in a drug and alcohol addiction and a number of other crazy things, which creates a lot of drama and a lot of pain and suffering. But it was a very, very important part of the journey and why he came, because it is part of the evolution. So we come into these bodies, we didn't just come here just to skate through, to be safe. It's kind of like a boat. You build this big old boat, and if you keep it in the harbor, because you don't want it to get scratched, or like a car, brand new car, okay? And you're like, oh, I'm going to keep it in the garage, and I'm going to polish it, I'm going to wax it, but I'm not going to bring it to the Walmart or anywhere else that I need to go, because somebody may scratch it when they back out or whatever if I take a trip in it. Well, Lord, I might have an accident. And so I'm going to keep it nice and safe here in the garage. While we have cars, it's not when we have ships, it's not to be safe in the harbor. It's to go out and travel the seas, to go out and adventure, and to do what we each have to do in these bodies and these stories. So what it occurs to me is that we're each source in skin, and each of us have different work we're doing. Each of us are evolving our own aspect of the collective. And only you can evolve your aspect of the collective, your collection of experiences, not just in this lifetime, but from many lifetimes. And it's stored there in your cellular DNA. And so I like to tell people we must first experience something in order for us to evolve it. For us to judge anyone. That's why it doesn't serve for us to judge anyone. I don't judge anyone because they came to experience that so they could evolve it. And I don't care how crappy it looks. They're going through their process. And I can remind myself of this when I'm having a difficult time and I'm feeling like crap. I can realize that this is an important part of the process. And if I try to sidestep, numb, and get away from what it is that I came to do, what I came to heal, then I'm like that car sitting in the garage, staying safe so I don't get hurt. I lived like that for 50 years. I'm going to stay safe.
Can I ask you,
Yes.
do you think we came here
came here, what?
To heal.
Absolutely. And to evolve the collective. Absolutely. So there are schools of thought that there's actually an agreement made with Source that we choose, not our entire life, but we choose parameters according to what it is that we ourselves can offer and evolve before we come into these skins. And then our memory gets wiped. That's why when we come into the bodies, that's why when you see a baby, they're closest to Source, and they still have some of that memory. And so you can look at them and just, they're so present and they're so amazing. It's so pure because they're not programmed yet with our human experience. So then we come into these bodies and these stories, and it's like, oh God, this is tough. It's tough being human. And all we can see is this illusion of separation, that we're all in this by ourselves. Every man for himself. You're over there in that body, and I'm over here, and I got to deal with my crap. And it's just the way it goes. And we think we're separate from what it is we need and want, and we think we're separate from each other. And when somebody passes, we think we're separate from them. We just feel all alone in this illusion, and it's a grand illusion. It's a masterful illusion. And it's necessary for us to feel that illusion of separation in order to us to evolve the collective. I want to pause and say that if there wasn't a reason for us to come into these bodies as Source, then we wouldn't be here. Be somewhere else. There's a reason why we're here. And so I want to take a minute to share a story that has really revolutionized my way of thinking. And I must first remind you of Beauty and the Beast. The Beast is the prince in disguise as the Beast. And he's waiting for the kiss of unconditional love to set him free. And Belle cannot know that he is the prince. She must love him as the Beast. And when she does, she kisses him. Poof, he morphs back into the prince. So what was shown to me is that fear, and I'm going to lump all of our stuff into that one word because basically it boils down to fear. Fear is our love in disguise as fear, waiting to be recognized, loved, and accepted. And when we do, it morphs back into the love that it is. My sadness is my tender-hearted compassion and joy in disguise as sadness and grief. And when I offer it love and acceptance, it transmutes back into the joy that it is. This is why when I think of Corey, his death, his life, and all the trauma that he's experienced, I feel nothing but pure ecstatic joy because I see that it's all love. And you can't make this up. You can't make this up. I have been pouring on myself so much love and acceptance of my grief and my sadness that it's transmuted. People think, what's with that woman? Is she on something? She's just super joyful. Well, it's not really a show. It's just all there because I keep offering myself this unconditional love and acceptance over and over. Whenever sadness and grief come, I just keep offering it so much love and acceptance and transmuting it. And it's like, wait.
Does it ever stop?
Does it ever what?
Stop.
Actually, so long as I'm in the skin, I will be doing this work. And I am best friends with my sadness, with my anger, with my disappointment. I've come home to myself. My anger is my passion and my power, in disguise as anger. When I offer it love and acceptance, it morphs back into the love that it is. My anxiety is my excitement for life, in disguise as anxiety. When I stop pushing it away and I say, come over here, come over here, it's okay. It morphs back into excitement for life and love. And I could go on and on and on. Fear is our love in disguise. This is why it doesn't serve to push away, numb, distract, and busy ourselves from ourselves. These are parts of ourselves. So in this process, with Corey dying, he had gone through this really powerful transformation before he died, and he brought me along and he prepared me for his exit. Even though I didn't know this, he didn't consciously know this. It's just how we're working. And so he passed, and I went through my grief process, and I was going outward and reaching out in love and meaningfully connected as a way to heal myself. And then Spirit slowed me down and said, okay, you've been going outward, and now I need you to be really still, and I need you to go inward, and I need you to start loving your darkness. All of these parts of you, your fear, your sadness, your disappointment, your rage, your jealousy, your greed, they're actually parts of me. I can think of them as my little girls, and they've been locked away in the basement. And they're just hungry and tired and dirty and smelly. And all they want is to be loved, seen, felt, and heard. And so it's a process to be able to be with those smelly little parts of myself. At first, I may not be ready. And one of the things when I share with people is that, especially when we've been very traumatized, it never serves for me to force myself to do anything. I'm learning how to be very kind to myself. I don't make myself do a single thing. And that includes loving my darkness. So if I am feeling I'm not ready to be with my fear and face my fear, then this is what I do. Fear comes knocking at the door. I open the door. Instead of saying, come on in and tell me all about it, I say, fear, I am not quite ready to be with you right now, but I would like to be. Please be patient with me. And in that way, we calm these parts of ourselves. And maybe in a few days or a week or so, fear comes back. And maybe I can open the door and say, fear, I'll give you 10 minutes to tell me what you have to say. And then I'm going to go take a bubble bath or a nice little walk. And just little by little, gently being with these parts of ourselves. So what happened with me is I went through about 1.5 years of having mirrored to me abandonment and rejection. And so, death mirrored to me abandonment, rejection. So basically, situations would come up and would trigger me, my feelings of abandonment and rejection, which death is the ultimate abandonment, rejection. And so I would have these situations. By the way, I want to introduce a concept that's a little difficult for some people to understand. But if we go back to this idea of source and how that we have essentially work that we're doing here, we can't consciously, from our human way of being, understand this, but our soul, as pure consciousness, is creating our experience 100%. What does that mean? That means that if somebody does me wrong, somebody triggers me, I have some sort of accident, I do something to hurt another person, my soul is actually creating that experience so that I can evolve my aspect of the collective, but more so I can get in touch with the abandoned, rejected parts of myself, that I can see what in me wants my love and attention. So when I can quit blaming my circumstances and trying to push off all that's happening here and realize that whatever's happening, if somebody's in my face, they're actually a mirror for me for what wants my love and attention. And if I can use that awareness, stop saying, if you stop doing that, then I won't feel bad. Which is not going to, is to basically keep pushing away these parts of ourselves. Instead, if I could just stop and say, I wonder why that person cussed me out. Oh, and I could say, well, I feel like crap. I feel like a worm. I feel so unworthy. I feel like nothing. And, oh, that's what wants my love and attention right now, the unworthy one. She wants to know that she's loved and accepted exactly as she is. That's all we want to do. Each of us, every single human being, at our core, we just want to know that we're loved and accepted exactly as we are. That's amazing. So meanwhile, here I am getting mirrored to me all of this fear of abandonment and rejection. And it took about 1.5 years that I essentially came home to myself. It all landed with me, all of the work I'd been doing. And so what happened is I realized that when we were small children and we start acting out, we realized that this isn't going to work and our parents weren't going to put up with it. And we had to start abandoning and rejecting parts of ourselves. We did it from that's the earliest program when we start, oh gosh, they're going to beat the fire out of us. And we don't stop, whatever. And so this whole human experience, this is why we came, to have this experience of being separate. And so whatever the experience, however, whatever depth of separation, intensity, that's what we bring to the table. So it's important that we go through it. You know, you're dealing with drug addiction, you're dealing with depression, you're dealing with just violence, whatever it is. That's what you came to heal. That's what you came to heal. You must experience it first. There's nothing wrong with you. Nothing wrong with any of us. It's the opportunity to bring that forward and to offer love and acceptance to these parts of ourselves so we can evolve our aspect of the collective. And so I finally realized that this is my chance to sit in the seat of the awareness that I am, of the divine source that I am, and to hold these parts of myself and to bring them back and to be present for them. And so it's like this. I'm fully human and I'm fully divine. This human life is just a tiny little bitty part of our existence. Well, we can't see that. We think it's all that we are. But meanwhile, I'm a limitless being. I'm infinite. And so I'm aligning. I'm not trying to kill and push away this bad part of me. Go away, you naughty thing. No, I'm aligning my human nature with my divine nature. And every time I offer love and acceptance to my human nature, I help it to align with my divine nature. And we're very happy when this happens because it feels so right. So I guess I want to share a story of 5 days after Corey passed. I mentioned that I had lived this very safe life. Corey, on the other hand, he was like a crazy man. He was doing all kind of crazy stuff, but he had to in order to fit in what he needed to do in his 27 years. So meanwhile, 5 days after he passed, he had this big snake. He appeared to me in a dream. He had this big snake coiled around his arm, and he was holding the snake's head in his hands, and the snake had its fangs bared. And I said, "Is it poisonous?" And he said, "No." And the implication was, it's not going to kill you. And he put the snake right in my face. And I said, "No, Corey." And I woke up crying. And I knew exactly what he was telling me. He was telling me, "Mom, I need you to face your fears because you have a big job ahead of you and it's going to require a lot of courage." Today, I have a lot of courage because what I've been doing from that day forward is facing my fears, allowing and opening. Facing my fears, allowing and opening. Whatever's here now, whatever's here now. Is it fear? Is it sadness? Is it rage? Is it depression? What's here? And I face it, I allow, I open, I offer it the most powerful love and acceptance that I'm able to do at this time in my life. And it's been amazing. So,
I want to, if you can hear me, how love and accept sadness or fear? What does it feel? When it trans?
I'm going to get to that. That's going to be my thing, practice. I have no idea what time it is, but I want to share some things about practicing presence. And then I want to move into holding space for ourselves in these abandoned, rejected parts of ourselves. And that's really one of the most important tools that I can offer. So how are we doing on time, girlfriend?
It's 12:30.
Great, great.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's, I'm going to check in with myself and see if there's one other thing I wanted to share before I went into the practicing presence. Well, I'm just going to jump right in.
Here we go, everybody.
Yes. So I want to say that I am my own guru, and so are you. And along the way, I've done a lot of reading. I listened to people, but I listened to my own source. And if we'll do that, get still with ourselves. My life has become a walking meditation. And one of the single most important practices that I've done in order to evolve this aspect of the collective and get in touch with who I am is my meditation. And my whole life has become a meditation. So I strongly encourage that, first of all, that you can begin a practice. And meditation doesn't have to look like anything. People have all these ideas. Oh, I can't stop thinking. So just sit. You can start with 5 minutes, and 5 minutes a day. You can pick a time. You know, when we go to brush our teeth before we go to bed, we don't say, "Oh crap, I gotta brush my teeth again." You just go in and you brush your teeth because that's something you do every night. It's no big deal. And so it becomes a routine. It's not any specific time that you brush your teeth. It's just before you go to bed. So one of the things that I could suggest, depending on your schedule, is maybe when you wake up and before you go off to have breakfast or whatever it is you do, that you start with 5 minutes. And it could be in whatever position you want to be in. You don't have to be in a lotus position. You don't have to have your legs crossed. It can be very uncomfortable over time. I like to have my back supported, and I keep this part to my spine, to my head straight, so the energy centers are open. You could be laying down. I'm at this point, I meditate for an hour a day. Been doing that for well over a year, that length of time. But so I lay down. So, and I'm not concerning myself with, oh, it's got to be this form or whatever. And I also just start breathing. I like to think of ourselves as the sky. Like today, there's a few clouds in the sky. You could think of your thoughts as clouds. Well, there's some clouds today. Looky there. I'm sitting in meditation, and I'm thinking about this and that and the other. Oh, so I am the sky. My divine self is holding the clouds. Some days as clear as could be, like yesterday. Not a thought there. I'm just as peaceful and tranquil as could be. And then some days is a storm. There's hail and lightning and thunder. Hurricane. The sky's not saying, hurry up, clouds, blow on. Hurry up, storm. Because it's just the sky. It can hold it. And it's not harmed by the storm. The sky is not harmed by the storm. And so we sit here and have these notions about, I have to not think any thoughts. No, maybe you're just processing. You may be the whole time you're just going on and on and on and on. You could just sit there and watch yourself go on and on and on because you're processing. And just keep watching. Just practice being the observer, the sky that holds the storm and is not harmed by the storm. It takes practice to do that, just to be the observer, to sit in the seat of the observer, the awareness that we are. So you can start with 5 minutes, then you can progress. If it's present for you, to 10, whatever works for you. So it doesn't have to look like anything. And then some other practices that I have for being present and for actualizing and getting in touch with my divine nature is basically when we're present, we are tapping into our limitless divine nature because we are presence itself. And we as humans are not programmed to be present. We're there, we're there, we're there. There's nothing wrong with our human self. It's wonderful. It's just that it limits us. When we're everywhere else and operating in our human nature, we're using our senses here, we're using our human logic. It's wonderful to be human. And humans have done a lot of things, and we may have a lot of capabilities as humans, but it's still very limited. And that's why when you started this broadcast, you mentioned about publishing the 10 books. I've traveled extensively. I've created a lot of art. I've traveled to a photography exhibition, Do You See What I See? And inspiring people to love unconditionally. Grieve the loss of a child. Walked the Camino in Santiago, Camino de Santiago in Spain 3 times. Connected with people, held events without being busy. And it's because I'm tapping into my limitless nature. It's really effortless. We don't have to push. We don't have to force anything. We don't have to demand. We don't have to make things happen. It's really simple. It's just being here, being present with what's here now. with love and acceptance. So it's not that it's hard to do, it's just unfamiliar. So I like to tell people to practice presence is important to be able to do that in simple ways. Because if you're expecting to be with your fear, be present with your fear and your anger, when you're triggered, good luck with that. If you're not used to being present with the regular stuff. I would start by trying to keep go to my breath all the time. Like I would just say, be conscious of my breath all day long. Oh, by the way, when you practice anything, the more you practice something, the easier it gets. So it's just become default to be present because I've done these simple things. Kind of like when you learn how to do something, you're going through all the motions. Okay, this is how you serve the ball. This is how you put your arm this way, blah, blah, blah. You throw the ball up, and you have to think about all that. Well, you don't have to think about it after a while. You just do it, and you get better at it. So I first started with things like, let me try to be conscious of my breath throughout the whole day, as much as I can. Just keep going back. Ah, there's my breath. There it is. I would walk down the hall of my house, and I would feel my feet just touching the floor. Boom, boom, boom. Right here. Be here. Right here. Don't hurry. Be here. I would feel my feet. And I would also kiss the earth with my feet. Kiss the earth. Boom, boom, boom. Kisses to the earth. I also like sweep. I'm feeling the broom in my hand. I'm looking. I'm really like focusing all of my attention on that whole process. So when I pick up the broom, I'm like, oh, I get to practice presence. Just got used to that. Chopping, like really just like going right into that. Stop the multitasking. Oh, that's a tough one. I was really good at multitasking, but it's not a good way of practicing presence to multitask. So training myself to try to be fully present right here when you're talking to people, to look them in the eyes, if they'll let you. And not try to, oh, I got to go do this while I'm talking to you. Well, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to be right here with you. So I want to share with you how we can check in with ourselves, with what's here now. And hopefully, Melanie, you can help me with this. There's 4 different aspects we can check in with. The first one is our body, what's present with our body at this moment. The second one is our emotions. The third one is our thoughts. And then the fourth one is our highest self, our soul. So it looks like this. Right now, I'm feeling my hands on my lap, and they're kind of cold. I feel my legs crossed, and I feel them a little bit clammy at my ankles. I feel a little bit of excitement in here and a little bit of lightness in here. I feel my hair touching the back of my dress. And I hear a lawnmower in the distance. So that's what's present for my physical body right now. What's present for you, Melanie, right now in your physical body?
Do you hear that sound?
Isn't that working for you, girlfriend? I can't. Oh, Lordy. I follow along because it's not going to work. So secondly, I move to my feelings. Now, we're so programmed as humans to push away the feelings we don't like. Ooh. And so what's a really valuable skill, first of all, to realize that opposite ends of the spectrum can be present at the same time. Joy can be present with sadness. Anxiety can be present with peace. And so it's really valuable if we're able to tap into, even if there's a teeny bit of sadness or anger, irritation, disappointment, so we can work with that. We know what we're working with. So I'm going to tap into what I'm feeling right now, what's here now for me. Just a lot of excitement and a lot of joy, a lot of peace. Mm. Mm. A little bit of sadness and anxiety. That's the main things that are present here. So the next thing is our thoughts. And our thoughts can be very active. And I don't judge myself if my thoughts are here, there, and everywhere. I'm very authentic with myself. The more authentic I can be with myself, the more I can do this work. I don't try to fake it and say, I don't feel that. I'm not thinking about that. I'm being real present. Aren't I spiritual? That's just my spiritual ego having a fun time. Busted. So, my thoughts. I'm thinking about an appointment that I'm going to today, seminar appointment. Thinking about how amazing it is to be here with Melanie, my BFFs, and what a privilege it is to share my experience. I'm thinking about Corey, and I feel his presence here. He's like standing behind me, like, you go, girl. Those are my main thoughts right now. And then the last one is our higher self, or our soul. That's the awareness that we are. That's the observer. And I want to share that people, if there was a little girl, little child here throwing a temper tantrum on the floor, she would be like making all kind of ruckus, and we wouldn't be able to hear each other. And the same is true for body, emotions, thoughts. Our human self can be very loud, especially if we're going through some pain and suffering. And sometimes it's really hard to hear the voice of the soul because it's a still, quiet voice and it won't impose itself on us. So it's really important to be still so we can hear that still voice. And there's a lot of times when I do this, some people don't have access to that. And that's okay. That's okay. This is a practice. We're not judging ourselves for not being able to hear our soul. But I'm going to check in with my soul right now. What it's saying. Life is amazing and beautiful. I get to be in this skin. I get to love. I get to live and be free. I love and accept you exactly as you are. We. So let's say. So, how much time do we have? Because I want to get to the really important stuff as well in the end.
15.
Good. Okay, you asked me this question earlier, and this is the juicy stuff. As humans, we are trained to live very dualistically. Everything's good, bad, right, wrong. And we judge everything and everyone. That's our human nature. And we have religion, we have politics, we have laws to help us to live within these human parameters. We have ways of being in relationship, like you do this and I'll do this, which is all based on the premise of conditional love. And, oh, she did me wrong, he did me wrong, that sort of dualism where we're unable to see, I like to call it the helicopter view, from our divine nature, because we're only seeing from this plane of being human that, oh, we're all separate, and we're all separate from what it is we want to feel and what it is we want to do. And so in order to do this work, it's really important to be able to sit in the seat of the awareness, the observer, the divine love that we are by these practices. Keep opening to who we are, waking up, opening, and practicing, realizing it's all love. Like I said, fear is love in disguise. So from that perspective, things look really, really different. From that perspective, like, let me just say, when you go to a play, every play has conflict, or else it wouldn't have a story. It wouldn't be a play, okay? So there's a hero and there's a villain. So at the end of the play, they all come out on stage and we clap. Whoa, yay! We say, hero, you did a fabulous job. Yay! And we say to the villain, you were a great villain. You were great. We love it. Because we know that there's an actor in that villain costume. And so when we realize that each of us are source in costume, we can view life very differently. Sometimes you're the villain. Sometimes I'm the villain. But we're all doing this play together. So we have that perspective of this is the play that I'm making up. I'm creating this play that is my life. And it's very different when I'm up here watching it than in it. When you're in it, it's really hard. It's like, crap. Oh no, here it goes again. And I don't want to feel fear. And I don't want to feel sadness. And I don't want to feel the anger and disappointment and jealousy. And we play all kinds of tricks to numb ourselves, distract ourselves. And we also play a lot of tricks to our spiritual ego. We'll say, I'm much better than that. I will not reduce the vibration of the collective by sitting in these lower energies. No way, Jose, I'm better than that. Well, that's just your spiritual ego. And I love your spiritual ego. I love mine too. But it doesn't serve. If you really want to learn how to evolve your aspect of the collective, embody the love that you are, you need to start loving these abandoned and rejected parts of ourselves, loving your darkness. When I live it for myself, I do it for the entire collective because we're one. And so when I do it for myself, I can receive and love and accept your darkness. And I can see that it's all love in disguise doing this play. And so what that looks like for me, so long as I'm in the skin, I'm going to be doing this work. I get present with myself and I say, what's here today? Oh, I'm afraid I won't be able to pay my bills. I'm making that up, but let's just say that I'm afraid. I'm afraid right now. And so I get really still and I say, come on in here and have a cup of tea. I kind of liken it to, let's imagine that I have one of my children, small children, they got pushed down on the playground and they skinned their knee and these bullies were after them. They come home and they're crying and they're upset and they're acting out. And we could do something like some parents do that don't know any better and say, get over it. Just get over it. Or if you want to cry, go to your room to cry because I don't want to hear it. We actually do it. We're doing this to ourselves whenever we tell fear and anger, I don't want to hear it. Go to your room. Or if you want to cry, I'll give you something to cry about. That's a really good one. Okay, so let's assume that we're not going that route with our feelings and these parts of ourselves, my little girls. But let's assume that we have an idea that, okay, we can be present with these. But let's suppose I say, I'm going to go over here and cook dinner and you could just kind of throw your temper tantrum in the living room and be upset over there. And I'm just, you're fine. I'll go over here. I'll be present with you. That's one way to do it, but it's not the most effective way. And so what I'd like to share with you is what I view as a pretty effective way and what I do with myself. And that is when they come in, just like, come over here, sit on my lap. Tell me all about it. They did what? Oh my gosh. That sucks. I am so sorry. Come over here. Let's wipe your boo-boo. Let me kiss it. Let's put a Band-Aid on it. Let me give you a hug. Oh, I love you so much. You're amazing. And this is how we can work with ourselves. So when fear shows up, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make my bills this month. When sadness and hurt shows up, so-and-so has not even spoken to me. I don't know if they'll ever speak to me. They totally have ghosted me, and I feel like crap. All of these things that come up, I can take my fear, my anger, my anxiety, and say, I am so, so sorry. That really sucks, and you don't deserve that. I want you to know, fear, I'm very grateful for you. Thank you for trying to protect me, help me survive. Give me what you think I need and want. You've suffered so much. You've endured so much pain on my behalf. I'm so sorry. And I'm so sorry for pushing you away all of those years. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I love and accept you, fear, exactly as you are. And I also want you to know that you can rest, because I got this. You can trust me. You're welcome to stay here as long as you like, and I will hold you. This is how I treat myself, and it's powerful. This is how I embody the unconditional love that we are. This is how I keep waking up to who we are, and this is how I create a new earth as one with you and the entire collective. And when I do this work for myself, I am doing it for the entire collective. And it's this butterfly effect. And that's what I'm doing here in this skin, is keep opening to the love that we are. And now I can see that I'm not separate from you. I never was. I never will be. You, anything else, any time, any place, anything, I'm never separate from anyone. It's a wonderful view. It's a wonderful way to live.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Well, we have 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Is there
Is
something
there something you'd like to make? Is there anything that I didn't cover that somebody would like to ask or me to share about? Yes. That's the thing, is we all know this. I'm not really sharing new information. I'm only reminding you of who you are and putting it into words, articulating it. But every single one of you know what I'm talking about already. Your source. I'm only helping you to remember. And it occurs to me that that's what we're doing in these bodies, is remembering who we are. Hey, Rita. It's my sister-in-law. I love you, Rita. I also want to say thank you to you, Melanie. You're amazing. You've been such a soul sister to me, and I value your presence. I value what you bring to the table. It's powerful. I thank you for this opportunity and this group that you've formed to help people to continue to open, wake up to who we are. I love co-creating with you.
I wish.
Like you got a little muzzle on your mouth. like you put on Mary. Hmm.
Well, I want to thank you. And you do the sign off
Okay.
because my audio.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening to this broadcast of Feel More Good. It broadcasts every Monday at 12 noon. Wonderful stories, wonderful sharing, wonderful tools and practices to help us feel more good. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.